And hello, everybody. It's Monday night, May 26th. You're live with Sherry Talk Radio. If you have a question or comment for the show, you can send it to SherryTalkRadio@yahoo.com. That's SherryTalkRadio@yahoo.com. Didn't have a show last week. Just wasn't feeling very well. Have had some health problems over the years, and sometimes I have to deal with that, and last week was the week to deal with that. And so there was no show last week, and so I know a lot of you were sending me emails saying you can't get the show on. So I put a notice on my website. If there's not going to be a show, I'll put it on the website over by the listen button so that you'll know what's going on if there's not a show or if you just can't access it with your computers. Some of you still having problems accessing the show. You can access the archives after the show, but you can't access the show itself. I've put the links directly of the show on my website at SherryTalkRadio.com so that you can just copy and paste the URLs into your browser, catch one of those, see if it'll work, or try accessing my show off of one of my other websites at SherryShriner.com or SherryShriner.net or HiddenCodes.com or TheWatcherFiles.com. You can always try one of my other sites to access it from. The Lord's had me in a couple of different things side by side. It's funny because it's never just one thing at one time. Cause pretty much the way I work, I'm doing 10 different things at one time. And so I've got a lot of information of both and not ready to really just hammer it all out with one. And so I'll probably give you a little bit of information tonight about Solomon itself, and then some more next week, same as what I'm going to talk about tonight. It's probably going to be a lot more of the same next week, just bringing out more information. Because he's been telling me about King Solomon, and I've always been interested in Solomon. It's always been one of those things that the church just kind of ignores and sweeps under the rug because they don't want to deal with it. Because later in Solomon's life, it's always been noted throughout the history and text that he had gone towards other gods, worshiping other gods, that he had all these wives and stuff. And I don't know, if you read some books, Solomon lived to an ancient old age, and if you read others, he only lived to be 53 years old. And so it's very interesting exactly which one are we going with here, because if you read some of the texts that are out now, he assumed the throne at the age of 14, died by the time he was 53, and so during that time had several hundreds of wives. I'd always heard he had over 700 wives, where David had over about 500. And so it makes it interesting as to what is the real truth about what was going on back then. The Lord didn't tell me anything about his wives, although his most infamous wife is Queen of Sheba, who was the Queen of Ethiopia, and that he had a son with her, and that a lineage, a whole race of people would be born between this Queen of Sheba and Solomon. And so I'm not going to get into that tonight either, although that's an interesting area of study. Because that's where that whole Israelite race from Ethiopia would come from. Also, Ethiopians can trace their lineage back to the tribe of Dan. And so there's several different ways that Ethiopians can trace their lineage as Israelites. Also interesting that some of the beasts coming in these last days, some of the ones we've been talking about that are coming, are going to make Ethiopia their stomping grounds. And so interesting that they would choose Ethiopia. Now, the Rosicrucians have been claiming that the Ark of the Covenant has been found in Ethiopia, and I've been warning about this fake Ark of the Covenant that they're going to pull out and claim that it's the original Ark of the Covenant and make its way to Jerusalem, and have this whole facade and charade thing going on with that. Clearly just Satanists running that area over there now, and completely really clueless believers that would follow the Rosicrucians and all this, because it's all just a charade that's coming up. They do not have the real Ark of the Covenant, and so whatever they want to pull out of Ethiopia and claim that they have is nothing but lies. I've warned about that before. But this whole thing with Freemasonry that's been dominating our country since its inception in 1776, it's all based, and this is a big shock, it's all based on lies. Big shock. I know you're all just floored. Their whole founding thing on Freemasonry, other than the sun, and I'm going to get into that tonight, is the fact that it was all based from Solomon, that he was the founder of Freemasonry. And so that's what the Lord has been showing me. And that's what I want to talk about a little bit tonight and clear up tonight. Because I've gone through and I've read these books that have been attributed to Solomon according to these Freemasons and all these other ancient societies. And it really just struck me as very interesting, very much like with Enoch. Enoch was given a lot of information from the Lord. He was given tours of the universe. He wrote us, and I even started reading Enoch again this week for like the umpteenth time. You never get enough of reading Enoch because you can never absorb it all. But Solomon was considered the wisest man on earth during his reign, because the Lord had told him to ask him for anything and he would be giving it to him. And Solomon asked for wisdom, and so the Lord gave him an abundance of wisdom. And what happened was it was things we wouldn't expect. The Lord had actually given Solomon, and all of this is attributed to him in the Lesser Key of Solomon, this one book. He didn't write the Lesser Key of Solomon, but it's attributed to him. And part of the wisdom that the Lord had given him was he gave him the names of 72 demons. And so Solomon, when he was given this information, would write down these demons' names, write down who were the lesser demons under them, how to conjure them up, the various things they were responsible for, because like I said, Satan's kingdom is very hierarchical. They'll have different jobs, different divisions and ranks. And he had all of this information about these demons and how to call them up and what their jobs were and who was under them or above them. And what was also interesting was each one of these demons that he had named had an angel that was also above them and in charge of them. So if a particular demon was bothering somebody, they could actually just call out to the angel who was in charge over that demon, and that angel could go and make that demon stop whatever he was doing towards one person or whatever. So I thought that was really interesting, that with every demon there's an angel assigned to them. Just almost like every person that's born, we talk about having guardian angels, or Eric's Ben talked about that everybody's born with guardian angels. And pretty much the same thing with people having angels assigned to them. Angels are also assigned to the dead being the demons. And the demons and aliens are not the same beings, folks. Demons are the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim that had died, the children that had died. And when the giants came to earth and mated with human women, they had children that were born as giants. And when the giants died, their spirits became demons. That's what they became known as, demons. I know in other countries they call them different things. In Arabia they're called jinn. But that's what they became, and their punishment was to just roam the earth because, I don't know, that was just their judgment given to roam the earth for now until they'll be cast into the lake of fire later, or whatever the Lord has, what he does with them. But that's their job. They just roam the earth, and they work for Satan, and they'll have jobs and things that they do. Aliens are fallen angels who haven't died yet. They've been booted out of heaven, kicked out of heaven, rebelled from heaven, can't get back to heaven. And so they live in our atmosphere, above our earth, they live under our earth. I've written many articles on aliens, and there's different divisions and ranks of them as well, and different looks and different bodies and different types, and they're just as ugly as the demons are. And then you have the humanoid type ones who look human. They're just very tall, they're giants. The Anunnaki, and you'll hear about the return of the Anunnaki. And these are just very white, tall, giant beings. Not all of them are white. There are black Anunnaks. Somebody sent me an email the other day. Why are you always saying they're white? There's black Anunnaks too. There are black Anunnaks.